This, I think, is an interesting warning indeed for Xbox fans, especially if you're a fan that actually has been somewhat excited by what's going on at Xbox and what's going on at Microsoft lately. It's been a little bit of a weird situation because, Microsoft is promising new hardware, but they're not exactly going about things in a way to get people excited about what they already have. It's like, and I've mentioned this in other videos, it's like Xbox fans, we're always kind of stuck in this weird situation where we're, hey, like, wait till next gen, and we got in that sort of a way as well with the Xbox One. It was like, wait till E3. We get like that, and I get it, because it's exciting to kind of look forward to stuff like that. Maybe generations last too long. I think maybe that's why people get excited about the situation with mid-gen refreshes and things like that. So again, mid-gen refreshes are definitely something that I think before last gen we didn't really look at as something we needed. Maybe it's something that should be at least offered. I guess I don't think that like the PS5 Pro is going to be some huge selling thing. I don't think it's going to sell like 20 million units or anything. But you have the option there, and I think that's smart. With that being said, I want to get into this because I feel like this is very much a warning to people that care about their library of games. And if you care about your library of games, I think you should definitely pay attention to this video. It's going to be a pretty good one and a pretty interesting one, because I think I like to talk about the things that are a little bit more relevant in the gaming stratosphere, and maybe you guys enjoy that. So, hey, I'm Crab Gamer. This is Crab Gamer Reviews with another video. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel tremendously and means a lot to me personally. If you guys are looking to, do something like find a channel that does daily gaming content, you found them. That's me. And again, all I ask for is a simple like. It helps out tremendously. So again, we see the situation with the Switch 2, right? It's getting a lot of hate. You would think that it would easily just play Switch games, but it doesn't. The emulation really highlights the future challenges for Xbox backwards compatibility, and they built a team for it, but it's not maybe as straightforward as you would think, which is odd to kind of think about in general. Xbox backwards compatibility has been a very amazing benefit through the Xbox One and Series X and S generation, but if the next Xbox console is to be radically different, like, we get rumors and leaks and things of, then it's going to be, have some new challenges for the program. We've seen how, like, with the Nintendo Switch 2, they're going to be using emulation to run Switch games, and as a result, the small but notable list of titles that apparently still have issues running on the Switch 2, and as with the time of this video, that's going to be an issue, and it's funny because, like, even like with PS5 and PS4 games, right, and possibly even Xbox Series X running Xbox One games, but I know for a fact that I've been playing like a PS4 game on the PS5, and then the game will shut down or act weird or whatever, and it'll say, do you want to send a report, blah blah blah, so it's not exactly foolproof. So it's nothing new in the world of Xbox. You can recall, very few people actually remember this, but the Xbox 360 featured a form of backwards compatibility with original Xbox games, and it used the emulation to run them, which is, had some very wild results from one SKU to the other. Some games perform perfectly, but obviously, even from experience, there's some stuff like on this article, which I'm going to link, the likes of WWE Raw, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban are full of slowdown and glitches. I can remember even playing stuff like KOTOR, the original Xbox game, on an Xbox 360, and it had some issues and glitches throughout. So yeah, it's very wild, and they didn't stick with the program very long, unfortunately, which is a bit of a bummer. But at the same point in time, we kind of look at this and we can say, hey, we hope for the best. You know what I mean? But again, Microsoft claims that they want to protect our library and all that kind of stuff, which if they do, I think they better be able to do it right. You've got to be able to do it right. Reports have stated that new game preservation and forward compatibility team has been set up inside of Xbox for next generation. And if we're looking at a Windows-based console and handheld, which supposedly are in the works, trying to emulate console games from them devices might be harder than you think. Assuming all Xbox One titles that work on Series X and S are mostly good to go without any major changes, there may not be the case with Xbox console and handheld. We could be talking thousands of titles that need to be retested in order to make them ready for the next console generation. The good news is that Team Xbox claims they're committed to the cause, so let's hope that actually kind of pays off. And I'm looking at this article right now, and it's got like 80% of people saying it's extremely important to have backwards compatibility, and then you have 15% saying fairly important, so a total of 95% saying, hey, this is a feature that we need. And here's the thing, right? Without backwards compatibility, you can throw away all that stuff out the window to begin with, oh, well, we lost the worst generation to lose because people want to take their library with them. If you can't take your library with you, then what's the point anyway? You know what I mean? So it kind of shoots themselves in the foot with this. Like, I think everything going forward from Xbox One onward, so Xbox One, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, all that stuff needs to go forward with you into the future. No doubt, like, the PlayStation 6 is going to play PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 games. I would love it to play PlayStation 3 games, and it's just like, to me, I think I would even be cool with, cutting it off at that point, because if you look at it, like, PS2 games, they're fun, and I have a fond memory with them, but they look bad. And PS1 even worse. Xbox, slightly the same but a little bit different. It was more powerful, and they had widescreen and some games in 720 or whatever, so you can look at it as from like a little bit different angle from that kind of aspect. But yeah, you have to be able to have the backwards compatibility. You have to have these things kind of going. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be strange going forward with like all of this stuff, but maybe Microsoft can get it kind of worked out to where people are paying attention to it, and actually they've been promising it, so you have to be able to offer this stuff. Pretty much like I said, I think that we're going to be seeing some strange things. I hope that we get backwards compatibility that's kind of full backwards compatibility, because I think that if you go the opposite way, it's just going to be one of those things where it's not going to add up, to me anyway. I think Microsoft has an interesting chance to do something that really intrigues people and really gets people amped up about the hardware. You're still going to need exclusive games, right? Let's just be real. I mean, if we look at the way that Microsoft, like, how can Microsoft be this multi-trillion-dollar company and not have someone go, it's probably smart to keep some of these games on our platform only, right? Like, I'm looking at some of the stuff like Hellblade 2, right? That's not going to do much, even if they port it to PlayStation. It's Pentiment. Why on earth did you ever put that on PlayStation, right? It's like Grounded. None of these things made sense. Hi-Fi Rush. None of this stuff made sense to put on PlayStation, right? The few things like Forza or Halo and Gears that does make sense completely kills your platform, right? You have Activision. You could have got away with stuff from the Bethesda thing as well. You put Fallout, put Elder Scroll. You could have kept that stuff on PlayStation and nobody would have batted an eyelash. But the way that they're going about things is completely going to destroy any reason to own an Xbox, and no matter what they do, right? Like, I know some people out there defend that whole Steam situation, right? They're like, well, what if they put Steam on there? And my whole point to that is, to what end? You know what I mean? They're not going to make any money off that. They would have to charge a huge amount for the hardware up front, and I don't think people want to pay $800 to $1,200 for a quote-unquote Xbox, right? Just because it plays Steam. It would be a non-upgradable PC basically, and I just don't see people like rushing out to get that. So hey, take that for what it is. This is kind of a warning there that Microsoft is going to have a tough time with this. I don't understand how so many people are quick to just go, oh well, it's everything's going to be backwards compatible or all this kind of stuff. I think there's some trouble there, because literally thousands and thousands of games need to be worked on and tested again and made sure that there's no bugs or glitches on any of it. And I think it's going to be a tough ask. Again, though, it could be anything that happens. We'll see. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this, though. Let me know what you think. I certainly do appreciate it. Rack 'em up. Fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. I'll catch you guys here next time. Have a great day. Crap Gamer out.